Charles Griffin Farr worked from life. Born in 1908, he witnessed and rendered the American Depression in the 1930s and World War II in the 1940s.
When I look at his paintings, I see a social realist influence. And by social realism, we mean an emphasis on everyday life, working class people, the body, and in domestic spaces. The representations are in a really realist style.
This is a dock scene, and he did a painting that's similar to this. So he spent time drawing people in action, and these are on, plein air type drawing.
As a young artist in the late 1930s, Farr took part in the Works Progress Administration programs and trained as a restorer of ancient pottery at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Farr soon outshined the expert he worked for.
And he would fill in with plaster the missing parts. And he would come to me to carry the design of the original over onto the plaster, which I could do blindfolded, nothing to it, but I did it too well.
Charles began his move westward after serving in the Army during World War II. He arrived in San Francisco in 1948.
I'll always think of it now as the golden age for an artist. We only made $20 a week, but it was enough.
So in the 1950s, when abstract expressionism was sort of the important form of painting in the New York scene, in the Bay Area, we saw the emergence of the Bay Area figurative painters.
So one of the things I really like about Charles Griffin Farr is his sketchbook work. He used pen and ink wash and then sometimes charcoal. But he would do drawings of everyday scenes. So he carried a sketchbook with him, very much like people carried a camera.
Although he had his own style, he was clearly influenced by the Bay Area figurative painters.
This is an extraordinary drawing that shows his studio where he taught and held figure drawing sessions every Monday morning on Potrero Hill. You can see the skylight from his studio, which appears in a couple of the photos and some paintings.
This is yet another revival of the same classical sense of form, tranquility, a feeling of perfection, calm, simplicity of forms. There's not an exaggeration of things like wrinkles or any bodily flaws. Everything is done in a very idealized way. And that's true of his paintings of people, obviously, but also his paintings of flowers.
Very interested for my photography students to see this work because of the kind of strong composition, the kind of attention to detail, and basically using painting the way photographers do in terms of kind of really interpreting real life as opposed to abstraction.
We came at 9 o'clock and we stayed till 12 and we just worked. I have always loved flowers, and the background is taken from my house. I was sitting in Charles's studio for the portrait, and I was holding calla lilies, and Charles worked away, and finally he said, "This will never do, you look like you're in your coffin," and so I went out and picked some nasturtiums.
Here's another example of still life with skyline from 1956. So this shows the San Francisco skyline from Potrero Hill, so you can see where he lived and what the view he looked out.
For the next several decades, Farr lived in the quaint, artsy neighborhood of Potrero Hill in San Francisco.
He had a wonderful little house on Potrero Hill that was all studio. Upstairs there was a tiny bedroom and a tiny kitchen, and then downstairs you went down wide staircase that you could sit on and draw. And then there was just a great big room with a view over, well, on Potrero Hill, you look north to the city. And it was all about art.
Farr is also known for motivating a group of his students and colleagues to help preserve and promote the Potrero Hill Library. Now, UCSC and the Cezanne Gallery are following his mission of collaborating to preserve the arts.
It's that I'm happy here and I work better. People ask me, say, are you still on Potrero Hill? I said, I'll be on Potrero Hill until they carry me out feet first.